I mean, 2 years were obviously extremely demoralizing and not really good for our business. But we always believe that this is an activity that comes very naturally to people to go out and watch movies. And once things do normalize, and content starts coming, and people start going out, apprehensions or fears and are taken care of, business will bounce back. And that's exactly with the grace of God that has happened. First quarter we got big movies, we got medium-sized movies, we got all sorts of films, and they all performed at the box office. And so it's been very encouraging to see cinemas getting filled up once again, and almost 2.5 crore people coming in the first quarter to our cinemas.
Yeah, absolutely. Nitin, but what about metrics like, ticket prices, spend per head? Do you think that is going to sustain? Because, right now, just taking a leaf from what Ajay said, some of us are also going to the theaters. It's somewhat revenge watching. I have watched every movie that there is, from Jug Jug Jio to Bhul Bhulaiya to just about everything at PVR Mesa, and spending whatever it takes on F&B. But will it really sustain, Nitin?
Yeah, so this has also been one of our best quarters in terms of revenue and profitability of all time. I think our ticket pricing is up 23% when you compare to pre-pandemic levels. But if you were really to break it down, the cinemas have been shut for 2 years. We've really caught up on inflation. The lineup of films that we are seeing and the demand that we are seeing at theaters, we are extremely confident that we'll be able to sustain these level of ticket pricing growth at our cinemas. And this is again broken down into cinemas and regions, etc. So we'll definitely see a very strong growth in ticket pricing for the rest of the year on back of some fabulous content which is slated to release this year.
Right. Ajay, that's the thing, right? Content pipeline. While some of the movies may have made money, but we haven't seen very big ticket releases so far. I mean, I know the pipeline ahead is very, very strong, but just wanted to give, you to give us some visibility and sense of what the content pipeline is like, and whether occupancy levels will continue to grow and hold through or not in the future coming quarters.
Well, movies are very good. Already in the first quarter, we saw big films like RRR, KGF 2, Vikram, and some English blockbusters, Doctor Strange. So many films, that Maverick was massive as well. And by the way, I'm glad you go to Maison PVR. That's one of my favorite cinemas.
It
And
is.
but now we've got
It is.
Shamshera is coming tomorrow. Then you've got Lal Singh Chadda and Raksha Bandhan releasing on a very, very important weekend. First time we'll have 5 days holiday from Rakhi to 15th of August. Hollywood films, Black Adam, Avatar, Mission Impossible, Nope, Brahmastra on September 9th, Vikram Veda, which is a remake of a South Indian film with Hrithik Roshan and Saif Ali Khan coming. So plenty of movies coming. So what you asked Nitin earlier, I'd be happy to address that as well. That is very much sustainable. It's not revenge. Initially, it was obviously initially everything that everybody was doing was out of restlessness and frustration to be incarcerated at home for so long. But now it's just water has found its own level, and people are coming quite naturally. If they get attracted to the content, they come. If they like the content, they talk about it. And like in fact, the movie that we just mentioned, Jug Jug Jio, has done better in subsequent weeks. The first week it didn't open that well. Second week was better than the first, and the third was better than the second. So the same thing is happening. Word of mouth catches on. People don't catch the movie on the first weekend, and then when they hear everybody talking about it, they go and watch it on the next weekend when they have the time. So it's pretty much sustainable.
Sure. Ajay, what about regional content? Any big ticket releases lined up there? You did talk about a remake, but specifically regional content, because what one has seen is in the year gone by, it's actually regional films which have done better.
Yeah, but that's okay. This is the beauty of the Indian market and the film fraternity, where, first of all, I don't want to write off also Hindi movies so soon. It's only been 3 months that we've been open. Some big ticket films are still yet to be released. So it's too early. Again, taking a very cliched example, Virat Kohli made 12,500 runs in 1 day, and we can't write him off so soon. But regional content, the beauty is that they don't think themselves to be regional content. They say the origin of the movie is Kannada or Tamil or Telugu, but when they are making movies, when I talk to the directors and the producers and the actors, they believe they're making for the whole country. And that's the reason why they make a movie that resonates with the whole country. They dub it in various languages. But specifically speaking, Vikrant Rona is one movie, Kannada movie, which is coming. Liger, Godfather, Thank You. These are 4 or 5 movies that I know offhand, which are coming up. And they all have everything written on them to be, again, mega movies because they're determined to cut across the entire country and not be just, limited to their own state or region. I think that's a fabulously refreshing thought process and mindset that they have got. Even the Hindi films like Brahmastra, if you look at it, the song that got released recently got released in various languages, not just the Arijit version, there was a Telugu and a Tamil version as well. So I think everybody suddenly said that India is a big country. Why isolate yourself, pigeonhole yourself to only one state or one language that you originated from? Make storylines that can resonate with the whole country.
Yeah, absolutely. Nitin, what about ad revenues? Because from what I understand from our channel checks is that the recovery is still a little bit slow there. Is there any hope of a positive surprise expected?
You're right. I think the revenue piece has been the slowest one to recover, while I think both ticketing and F&B revenues have done exceedingly well. I think a recovery in ad revenue during the quarter is only about 68% as compared to what we were doing pre-pandemic. I think we need to show 1 or 2 more quarters of performance. I think hopefully by Q3 of this year, we will see ad revenues coming back to where we were closer to pre-pandemic. But I think that's the only piece which is taking longer to come back. Both ticketing and F&B are doing exceedingly well.
Also, what about your screen expansion plans? What's the guidance that you would hand out? And if you could also tell me if there is any indication on same store footfalls, excluding expansion, which I understand broadly the quantum or the range of growth, if you could just give us a little bit here.
Yeah, I'll let Ajay talk about growth. I'll just tell you, I think our same store admission recovery is almost been close to 90%, 85 to 90% what we saw in the first quarter. And I think hopefully, by the time we hit Q3, we are hoping that we'll see a full admission recovery because Q3 is looking quite big with the massive lineup of content that is slated to release. On new screen additions, maybe Ajay can talk about.
Yeah, sure, Nitin. So basically, so far we've only opened 14 screens across 3 properties in cities like Patiala and Rourkela and Mumbai. We were not in Rourkela. But now we have about 125 screens under fit out, various stages of fit out. And out of which about 37% screens will be opening in the south, west 27% screens, north 24%, and east 11%. So that's the kind of rollout. South is 37%. We have some big projects with Lulu malls and Prestige malls, which is Prestige Estate Group, which are opening in South. And if I was to bifurcate it into metros, 33% are in metros, 34% tier 1, and 13% tier 2, and 20% tier 3. So it's a diversity of portfolio in very good malls, good locations, fully tenanted, with great developers opening across the country. This will also be the highest screen count opening. Screens did get bunched up 2 years. We didn't do any fit outs, and suddenly the momentum has picked up from March to April onwards.
Ajay, the interview would not be complete if I don't ask you about the timelines and the monitorables for the merger with Inox.
That I'll let Nitin answer.
Okay. I like how you guys are dodging questions to each other, but yes, Nitin, go ahead.
So the merger is progressing well. I think as a first step, we've got the approval from stock exchanges and SEBI on the proposed merger. We are in the process of filing our application before the NCLT. And once that is done, I'm told, the procedure in NCLT to take shareholder creditor approval and complete the process takes anywhere between 5 to 7. The merger in the next 5 to 6 months.
Okay, interesting. Ajay, also, what about the impact of the OTT release window coming back to 8 weeks? And wanted to also understand whether or not the regional window would also then come back to 8 weeks.
Uh, you see, first of all, pre-pandemic, the window was always 8 weeks. It was only temporarily when so many things were happening, that we brought it down to 4 weeks. And now that the producers are seeing that the movies have a very long, can have a long run. As I said earlier, like Jug Jug Jio is a case in point. People want to see it on the third and fourth week. I think definitely it'll have a positive impact on the business because for 8 weeks now, people will only be able to see the movies on the big screen. Even economically, it's good for the film industry because you'll be able to garner much more revenues if the movies play longer in the cinemas. Traditionally, regional windows have always been shorter, so it's nothing new. They were always hovering between 4 to 5 weeks. Nitin, correct me. That's the kind of, but the kind of, occupancies and onslaught towards the cinemas that happens when a big movie gets released. Actually, 4 weeks are also enough because people just the movie gets completely exhausted. Everybody's already seen it. That runs at 80%, 90% levels. The movies run. But that hasn't impacted us. I'm not very sure whether they want to increase the windows there. Nitin, are you aware of it or something, or it'll remain?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we don't have a documented understanding as such with respect to windows in the regional markets, but our sense is that given how well the films are doing, those windows are also likely to get elongated.
Yeah.
And that's a continuous dialogue that we have with the film industry and the producers.
So 8 weeks is pretty much the norm throughout the country, and that's what we're looking at now.
The last thing I also wanted to talk about, and I don't know, Nitin, Ajay, whoever of you could really take up this question. What about rental agreements with developers? Are you still in the negotiation stage, or is it now a complete no-no as was pre-pandemic?
Well, we were very fortunate that we got tremendous support from all developers. And during the pandemic, rent reliefs were given to us and also CAM reliefs, which is also another expenditure, common area maintenance charges. So we got a lot of reliefs from them from 0% to only charging 25%. But going forward now we're back to normal. Now we have to, make sure we're paying them rent as usual. So nothing has changed over there. We are back to paying full rental because the operations are fully happening now.
Okay, Ajay, lastly, I'm quite tempted to ask you, what will be a bigger hit? Would it be Lal Singh Chadda or Brahmastra? I know I'm putting you in a spot here.
I think even if Amir is listening to this, it doesn't matter because he knows my daughter is involved in Brahmastra. So I have a huge bias towards Brahmastra. But I think both will
Same
do
here,
well.
Ranbir Kapoor fan, out and out.
Both
Okay,
are going
gentlemen,
to be
great
good.
to speak with both of you. Thank you so much for taking the time out and speaking with us
Oh,
today on ET Now.
thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.